Okay, so in this chapter what we're going to be talking about is the differences between exterior lighting and interior lighting. We talked about in the first chapter things to remember about exterior lighting. In this chapter we're going to talk about differences between the two. And this mainly deals with, when we're dealing with interior lighting, we are going to be talking about mainly the lighting of digital sets. We're not going to be talking about a lighting of characters, for example, into a digital, incorporated into a live action plate. That could also be considered interior lighting, but we're mainly going to be focusing on environments and how environments and interiors are lit. So with that being said, let's first think about a few concepts here. For example, how does interior lighting differ from exterior lighting? So in order to look at that, let's first look at an exterior scene that we're familiar with from the first DVD. And things to sort of, conceptually look at here is that this exterior scene is mainly focused on the environment as its light source, and that environment is obviously there's one big sunlight, which is could be considered part of the sun of the environment, as well as the sky and everything else. So the environment around you is what's lighting up this space, and that's kind of a key concept to exterior lighting. When we're dealing with interior lighting, it's a little bit different because the space that we create is mainly the environment. You see, we barely see any of the outside. In fact, there's just a little slit of the outside in this scene. But the space that we create becomes the environment, becomes the light source. So the ambient light that we're getting from a scene comes from the space that we have created. And so the way that you generate your space and the shaders you use and the colors you use and everything you do becomes a key factor to the lighting when dealing with GI. So when you think of the the geometry as becoming your light source, it becomes an important thing. So speaking of light sources, and when you're dealing with exteriors, we mainly dealt with the sun, for example, or major huge light source, or just the sky. And when dealing with interiors, we have a huge variety of light sources, including the sun and the sky, but also enormous amount of artificial out of the skies, including or not, probably 2 or 3 bounces. But for interior scenes, you tend to require a lot more bounces to get a solution, which basically means that you're going to have to be focusing on a lot more environments, a lot more calculation as well. So everything that happens in your scene, everything that's going on becomes a lot more expensive. And there's some solutions to that which we're going to be looking into as well. And lastly, because we're going to be dealing with all these principles of sort of real-world environments and real-world space and shaders and light sources, etc., we're going to sort of start to learn to have to light in a different way than we've done before in traditional CG scenes, and we're going to have to start to learn to light like a DP. So, and like a DP meaning a some interior scenes and see how those principles apply.